Hey everybody, welcome to Reading the Bible to Cats. I just had to do this video because Henry's being too cute. Don't make me sing that song again. Too cute. Yeah, it's a good thing I forget my songs after I make them up. Oh, but it might come back to me. I'm too cute. Um, okay, well, you know what? I just turned the camera on because he is being too cute. And so I don't. That was cute. The fact that you flicked your paw was too cute. Oh man. Um. So I don't really have. Well, I think we're on Judges chapter 6. So let's read that. And yeah, I'm just. Oop, I'm looking at it via my phone though, and the battery's kind of dying. But it looks like it's kind of a longer chapter. Um. Oh, Henry, that's too cute. And Henry's on the archaeological study Bible next to the new kitty, this stand-in kitty over there. But look at you. That's too cute. It's too cute. Okay. Well, I'm trying to think if that's what we should read because well, hold on. Maybe I can actually plug my phone in since I can't read from the archaeological study Bible. Because somebody's on it. Uh-oh. We might have to use the stand-in kitty because Henry's about to leave us, I think. Henry! Wait, let me show him the new toy then. How about that? Does that hold your interest? Yeah, check it out, Henry. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, let's read the Bible. And we will read. Let me try and make sure he stays. Okay, well. Oh no, he's leaving. Henry. Oh, I knew that would happen. Okay. Well, just look at them over there. Sorry, everybody. It seems like half the time I'm trying to figure out if the kitties are going to stay or go. Well, okay. It's been 3.5 minutes of me just rambling. But you can always 2 times speed it. Um, let's read Judges chapter 6. Okay, okay. The Israelites did evil in the eyes of the Lord, and for 7 years he gave them into the hands of the Midianites. Because the power of Midian was so oppressive, the Israelites prepared shelters for themselves in mountain clefts, caves, and strongholds. Whenever the Israelites planted their crops, the Midianites, Amalekites, and other eastern peoples invaded the country. They camped on the land and ruined the crops all the way to Gaza, and did not spare a living thing for Israel, neither sheep, nor cattle, nor donkeys. They came up with their livestock and their tents like swarms of locusts. It was impossible to count them or their camels. They invaded the land to ravage it. Midian so impoverished the Israelites that they cried out to the Lord for help. When the Israelites cried out to the Lord because of Midian, he sent them a prophet who said, quote, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. I brought you up out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. I rescued you from the hand of the Egyptians, and I delivered you from the hand of all your oppressors. I drove them out before you and gave you their land. I said to you, I am the Lord your God. Do not worship the gods of the Amorites in whose land you live. But you have not listened to me." Unquote. The angel of the Lord came and sat down under the oak in Ophrah that belonged to Joash the Abiezrite, where his son Gideon was threshing wheat in a winepress to keep it from the Midianites. When the angel of the Lord appeared to Gideon, he said, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." "Pardon me, my lord," Gideon replied, "but if the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us? Where are all his wonders that our ancestors told us about when they said, 'Did not the Lord bring us out of Egypt?' But now the Lord has abandoned us and given us into the hand of Midian." The Lord turned to him and said, "Go in the strength you have and save Israel out of Midian's hand. Am I not sending you?" "Uh, Pardon me, my lord," Gideon replied, "but how can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I'm the least in my family." The Lord answered, "I will be with you, and you will strike down all the Midianites, leaving none alive." Gideon replied, "If now I have found favor in your eyes, give me a sign that it is really you talking to me, because, oops, excuse me, everybody, it is I who's speaking, not the Bible. I added a word. I added the word because, and yeah, I don't want to add to the scriptures, everyone. So let's take verse 17 again. Um, Sorry for my funny voice popping out. Okay, let's try that again. Verse 17. Gideon replied, "If now I have found favor in your eyes, give me a sign that it is really you talking to me. Please do not go away until I come back and bring my offering and set it before you." And the Lord said, "I will wait until you return." Gideon went inside, prepared a young goat, and from an ephah of flour he made bread without yeast. Putting the meat in a basket and its broth in a pot, he brought them out and offered them to him under the oak. The angel of God said to him, "Take the meat and the unleavened bread, place them on this rock, and pour out the broth." And Gideon did so. Then the angel of the Lord touched the meat and the unleavened bread with the tip of the staff that was in his hand. Fire flared from the rock, consuming the meat and the bread, and the angel of the Lord disappeared. When Gideon realized that it was the angel of the Lord, he exclaimed, "Alas, sovereign Lord, I have seen the angel of the Lord face to face." But the Lord said to him, "Peace, do not be afraid. You are not going to die." So Gideon built an altar to the Lord there and called it, "The Lord is Peace." To this day, it stands in Ophrah of the Abizrites. That same night, the Lord said to him, "Take the second bull from your father's herd, the one 7 years old. Tear down your father's altar to Baal, and cut down the Asherah pole beside it. Then build a proper kind of altar to the Lord your God on the top of this height, using the wood of the Asherah pole that you cut down. Offer the second bull as a burnt offering." So Gideon took 10 of his servants and did as the Lord told him, but because he was afraid of his family and the townspeople, he did it at night rather than in the daytime. In the morning, when the people of the town got up, there was Baal's altar demolished, with the Asherah pole beside it cut down, and the second bull sacrificed on the newly built altar. They asked each other, "Who did this?" When they carefully investigated, they were told, "Gideon, son of Joash, did it." The people of the town demanded of Joash, "Bring out your son. He must die, because he has broken down Baal's altar and cut down the Asherah pole beside it." But Joash replied to the hostile crowd around him, "Are you going to plead Baal's cause? Are you trying to save him? Whoever fights for him shall be put to death by morning. If Baal really is a god, he can defend himself when someone breaks down his altar." So, because Gideon broke down Baal's altar, they gave him the name Jerubbaal that day, saying, "Let Baal contend with him." Now, all the Midianites, Amalekites, and other eastern peoples joined forces and crossed over the Jordan and camped in the valley of Jezreel. Then the Spirit of the Lord came on Gideon, and he blew a trumpet, summoning the Abzarites to follow him. He sent messengers throughout Manasseh, calling them to arms, and also into Asher, Zebulun, and Naphtali, so that they too went up to meet them. Gideon said to God, "If you will save Israel by my hand, as you have promised, look, I will place a wool fleece on the threshing floor. If there is dew only on the fleece, and all the ground is dry, then I will know that you will save Israel by my hand, as you said." And that is what happened. Gideon rose early the next day. He squeezed the fleece and wrung out the dew, a bowlful of water. Then Gideon said to God, "Do not be angry with me. Let me make just one more request. Allow me one more test with the fleece, but this time make the fleece dry and let the ground be covered with dew." That night, God did so. Only the fleece was dry. All the ground was covered with dew. Okay, everybody, that's the end of Judges chapter 6. And yeah, Gideon's fleece. It's a very famous passage. Sorry, everyone, I'm just looking at how Henry sleeps. That's how he's always slept, with his paw tucked under his. Well, his paw tucked under like that's funny. Henry, that's funny. Um, I don't know why the picture is green. Oh, sorry, everyone. I should have had the camera in focus. Anyway, yeah, this passage. Now I can grab the Archaeological Study Bible. Let me see if there's a note in here that's interesting. Oh, wait a minute. Judges chapter 6. See if there's anything interesting here that I can share. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that Gideon was always kind of asking for a sign. I laugh because I think I'm probably like that, you know? I yeah, I mean, I think I am like that. Well, I don't see a whole lot on this passage in here. Hmm. Did I read the right passage? Sorry, everyone. 2 times speed me if I'm going too slow, because I think I am slow. Oh, Judges 6. Here's the descent of Ishtar. Hmm. It's a big, long study note that will put you to sleep about, I guess, the descent of Ishtar. I don't know. We want to read this whole thing. Um. Okay, I might read a little bit. Judges. Oh, you know what? It's funny. Guster's trying to eat the Bible. What are you doing? What are you going to stand on the word? What? What's happening? There's the study note, and there's Guster. Guster, I saw you trying to eat the word. He was chewing the Bible. I don't know. He was trying to chew on it. I think he wants attention. But anyway, yeah, because I'm focusing on Henry. Oh, okay. Judges chapter 6, the descent of Ishtar. Here's the study note. Oh, he's standing on the word now. He stepped on the word. Okay. Modern Christian readers of Judges 6 may be astonished to learn how quickly and evidently, almost casually, Israelite families fell into the worship of pagan gods. Okay, I'm just trying to focus a little here. Um, and set up shrines in their honor. It is helpful to see how widespread and universally accepted these myths of pagan gods were. For example, there are several versions of the descent of the goddess Inanna, also called Ishtar, into the underworld. A Sumerian version begins with the goddess Inanna determined to visit the underworld, perhaps in order to rule there. She gains admission but must pass through 7 gates in order to enter the underworld. At each gate, she is divested of the symbols of her prestige and divinity, her crown, jewelry, and garments. The process is symbolic of death, and Inanna arrives naked as the dead do when they enter the underworld. Inanna is then condemned for her act of entering the underworld, and her corpse is hung up. Ew. Okay, that's so dark. But yeah, it is I who's speaking, not the study note. The reason why I say that it is I who's speaking and not the Bible or not because I know that there's a transcript, and if people are just reading or subtitles, then they might think it's the study note or the Bible. I don't know why I do that. Anyway, yeah, this study note's kind of creepy, isn't it? I don't know if you're interested. Am I interested? I guess I could read a little more. Um, and I don't like her name, Inanna. It's kind of creepy. Kind of creeps me out a little bit. It's kind of like, oh, is it a demon's name? I don't know, but I'll go on. Okay, so even though it creeps me out, which it does, Inanna's servant Ninshubar, yeah, it's like creepy. All the names are creepy to me. Appeals to the gods, and Enki, the god of wisdom, fashions 2 creatures who enter the underworld and revive Inanna. Inanna is allowed to return to the world above, but must find a substitute to take her place. She determines not to take anyone. Blah blah blah. I don't know. It's just all about what the weird, creepy gods are doing. They're not gods. I mean, demonic. You know, creepazoids from the ancient world. Anyway, let's go on. I don't know if I want to really go into their weird little um, mythical soap opera from way back, but if you're interested in it, you can pick up the Archaeological Study Bible and read the Judges chapter 6 note in full. But let me see if there is anything else interesting. Spend half the year in the underworld. The cycles of descent, their cycles of descending into death and again ascending, blah blah blah. Okay, variants of this myth can be found throughout the ancient world. Blah blah blah. In the Bible under the name Tammuz, the Canaanite counterpart to the Sumerian Inanna or the Akkadian Ishtar is Astarte, or sometimes Inanna. Yeah, I mean it's like they're all the same. You know what I mean? It's kind of, I don't know. It seems demonic, and they start out with one name, and then another culture kind of adopts a different name for the same god. It seems like, you know. The Egyptian goddess Isis plays a similar role, although the details differ. There are overtones here as well of the Greek myth of, and then it goes on into the Greek myths, blah blah blah. Um, blah blah blah, because the myths were almost universally held and because they seemed to help people understand the most fundamental problems of life, it was difficult for the average Israelite to avoid succumbing to their allure despite all they had been told to the contrary. Many Israelites believed that they could embrace these myths and the gods and goddesses behind them and yet remain faithful to their God Yahweh and his covenant. That part's interesting because um, they did, obviously cling to these pagan gods, quote unquote, gods with little g. Oh, what's going on with Guster? He's meowing a lot. Guster, what's happening? Guster! Gussie! Guster, why are you meowing? I don't know. There's some drama going on between the kitties right now. I don't know if he sees like a little spider or something. Guster, what are you checking out? Gussie, what are you doing? Let's see, maybe I'll give them one of their new toys. Let's see the little robin. Oops, there it is. That's exciting. Anyway, okay, oh, he's carrying it off like prey. Anyway, yes, so that was Judges chapter 6, and I'm trying to think what I've gleaned from it. Well, just that Gideon was very dubious, I mean, he was doubtful. It seemed like he was always wanting a sign, Gideon's fleece, and yet the Lord was patient with him. And also, the Lord chose someone who was really um, flawed. I mean, in terms of, like he admitted, he was kind of small and weak in a sense and seemed to have a lot of doubts. But I guess that is encouraging if you fall into that category, which I feel like I kind of fall into that category because I'm always asking for reassurances from the Lord. Um, but on the other hand, Gideon had it. I mean, the Lord literally was there telling him, you know, what, I mean, he I don't know. Guys, I'm kind of like scattered. Um, what I was going to say is the angel of the Lord instructed him really in person, and yet he asked for all these signs. Oh, we need a stand-in kitty. Okay. Yeah. So, okay, it's 25 minutes into the video, and I feel like I've just been really scattered and rambly. Um, so I guess it's all about faith. Thinking of Gideon. Well, let's say a prayer. I guess this is a longer video. I yeah. I'll tell you about my misadventure. I guess I shouldn't call it an adventure, but I guess it was an adventure. But since this is a longer video, I think in the next video I'll talk about the adventure that was kind of a scary adventure, but it turned out really well. Um, I don't. I hope that doesn't bother you to leave you hanging. But if I tell you now, it'll um, this video will be really long. I guess I can let you know a little bit. It was in the mountains of West Virginia, and I was helping my my best friend drive from St. Louis to back to her house in Richmond, one of her places in Richmond. And anyway, so we had this long drive, and but we had to pick up her. We had to return a rental car to a dealership in Indian in Indianapolis, basically, because her car had died in the middle of nowhere before. Anyway, long story short, her car was impaired, and we had to go pick up the car, drive from St. Louis to Indiana, and then go to a dealership there. They had replaced the engine because it was under warranty, so they um, thankfully she was able to get a new engine. But we had wanted to get on the road because we still had to drive to Richmond, which would take us through the mountains of West Virginia. And but we were waiting forever at the dealership because apparently they had to replace a couple of hoses as well. But it should have been done upon our arrival. But for some reason, it was delayed. And so that put our time leaving the dealership. We were really delayed. And so originally, we're just going to kind of push through and drive on into the wee hours of the night. And thankfully, um, Petra decided that no, let's just get a hotel in West Virginia, and then the next morning we'll drive, which is really great that she decided that because had we not done that, we would have been um, the transmission went out in the car, and it would have gone out in the mountains of West Virginia in the wee hours of the night in a remote area, and it would have been just terrible. I mean, and scary because there wouldn't have been a gas station or a place to go to in the mountains there. So anyway, what happened was this is a long video. We got this hotel, and the next morning we got up at the crack of dawn, and it was like, yay, the car's great. There's a new engine. It's like a new car, but there was still some questions because she felt like they maybe needed to check the transmission just to be safe, but I guess they didn't. Anyway, so there we're driving, and then it's like we're going up the mountain. It's the daytime, thankfully, and then her transmission goes out, and that has happened to me before with with a car I had. So I was like, oh. So, we pulled over to the shoulder, and thankfully there was an exit right there, and it was a decline. So we could coast down the exit. It was exit 175. And then, it kind of just stopped at the bottom of the exit. So we were on the shoulder and then put the flashers out. And thankfully, we could walk to um, an auto repair place. And they were really, really nice. Even though they don't do transmissions there, we're able to get a tow truck to tow the vehicle to another repair place, and the tow guy took us to the rental car so we could rent the car. But anyway, long story short, it was scary because I'm just thinking, wow, it could have been like at 2 in the morning that had happened, and it could have been, you know, uh, in a very remote area of West Virginia in the mountains. Anyway, so praise report, everything's fine. Well, actually, we're safe and everything in that respect. But I guess I'd like you to pray for Petra because uh, she's because of this car situation is a big stressor among some other stressors that she's going through. And Petra's um, the kitty's actual mom. And like I've said before, I'm long term kitty sitting the cats. It's been a year, but not to worry because God willing, once Petra gets settled and gets a place, then I will still make the videos with Guster and Henry. Guster, of course I will. So it'll just be different, or because they won't be in my living room. But anyway, all that to say, just pray for Petra. Okay, that's all. This is a long video. Esther, you have something on your forehead. Okay. Well, let's say a prayer. Lord, thank you for your word, and yeah, and thank you for my YouTube friends and everyone who amazingly wants to subscribe or listen to these videos or watch them. I'm still amazed because I just feel like I ramble. But and I feel guilty about that because I just don't prepare. But I just I don't know. It works for me because it keeps me in the Bible. So, but I thank you that people do join me, and that they're joining me on this journey through the Bible. Pray that you give us wisdom and insight, and even as we read about Gideon, help us to understand what what your what the intent is with this chapter, and what it is that we need to glean from it. And I pray for everyone watching and listening, Lord, they that you would answer their prayers, Lord, and the desires of their heart. And I know you know them and you love them and you hear their prayers. I just pray that if anyone's in pain, that you just would alleviate that pain, Lord. We know you're a healing God, and we can't wait for your kingdom to come and for your will to be done on earth as it is in heaven. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray for Israel. And I pray for the hurting people all around the world in war-torn areas and war-torn countries. Just pray for relief from the suffering, Lord. Pray for the hostages, Lord. We just ask for just Lord, I pray that you alleviate their suffering, their emotional suffering, their physical suffering, psychological suffering, that you would comfort them and find them where they are, whether it's in the tunnels or wherever they are, that you would speak to their spirits and encourage them and give them strength and ultimately free them, Lord. Pray all these things in Yeshua's name, in Jesus' name. Amen, everyone. I rambled. Guster, what's on your forehead? I have that that stuff over there, Nature's Miracle. It really works. When there's a little accident, when somebody might have a little accident, it works. I'm not advertising it. They just happen to be there because I used them recently. Right, Guster? Didn't I have to use it recently? Okay. All right, everybody. I better go because this is a long one. All right. Bye.